Today, I will be talking about the 20 best roller coaster elements in Ohio. Ohio is one of the best states for roller coasters, having over 30 across their two major theme parks, Kings Island and Cedar Point. And they have some of the best coasters in the world with some of the best roller coaster elements ever created. But before we start, I tried to keep this list as diverse as possible, since having the same element being half the list is pretty boring, and I think I did a pretty good job. And 5 elements that didn't quite make the list is Millie's Speed Hill, Banshee's First Drop, Flight of Fear's Launch, Gatekeeper's Zero G Roll, and Orion's Speed Hill. But let's start the rankings. Start the list with the one inversion drop on the list, Gatekeeper's Wing Over Drop. This element is good no matter what seat you're in, because in the front you get insane hang time on the way down, and in the back you get whipped down the drop. Also, the bottom of the drop is pretty intense and not in a way that you'd think it'd be. Next up is Maverick Switchbacks. These are super snappy, fun twists. They're right after the first drop, so you have maximum speed going into them, which sums up all the elements on this ride. But you go from right to left, then back to right so fast that you're stuck to the back of your seat for the whole time. This is a great way to start the intense and whippy ride that is Maverick. At 18 is Banshee's Pretzel Knot. This is one of the most unique elements on the list for the reason that it's the only one that exists. This element is more like a dive loop and then an Immelman right after. This element is super intense and the most intense part of the ride, but it's not the best in my opinion. The best Zero G roll in the state of Ohio is on Raptor. This is such a great inversion for arguably the best looper in the state. The Zero G roll is so whippy and floaty. You go through it with so much speed that B&M does not add to their coasters anymore, which is why Banshee's Zero G roll didn't make the list. But the floatiness and the speed of the inversion puts it here. Number 16 is Valraven's First Drop. This is one of the weaker drops on the list, but it's still pretty good. Hanging 200 feet above the ground is crazy, and the hold breaks really add to the suspense. Then you go down the 90-degree drop to the ground, and you get good but not great airtime. If this ride didn't have the B&M vests, it'd be a lot higher, but it'll be stuck with them forever. At 15 is Magnum's Final Hills. I know this is technically multi-elements, but I'm lumping them together. These hills are very good since they are triangular and they send you flying so abruptly. But to many people, the airtime is way too intense and the metal bar restraints just aren't very good. But I think it's a pretty good way to end the ride on this OG coaster. Steel Vengeance's Drop is next. This is a great drop with loads of airtime. Since the drop is 90 degrees and has a lap bar, it allows for a lot of airtime. Also, people say the RMC trains and restraints are bad, but I don't think they're that bad because you can use the knee bar to keep the restraint up. A very good start to the best ride in the world. Surprising airtime moment on this list is Orion's Final Dip. Looking at this element, it just looks like filler and just a way to align with the brakes, but it's really good. You get thrown out of your seat and it's arguably the most powerful airtime on the ride. And since it's off-banked, it's really weird but super fun element to end the ride. Up next is the Beast Final Helix. Overall, this ride doesn't do a lot, but this is amazing. You go down the bank drop, which is really unique, but you slowly pick up speed for about a good 8 seconds, then hit the helix. The helix is pretty intense, and the tunnel makes the element even crazier since it's so loud that you feel like your eardrums are being blown out. This is a very good ending to the longest wind coaster in the world. The Raptor Double Helix is next. This is in contention for the most intense moment in Ohio. Since it's 2 helixes, it's a good 10 seconds of pure 4 Gs of force. It feels like you're stuck to the back of your seat and physically can't move. Then after, when you hit the brakes, you just have to sit there and take a breather because of how tense the ending was. Maverick's Single Dives are up next. These are some of the whippiest elements in the world. You take these with so much speed that you get tossed to the right. And the second one's even better because you're banked to the right and then quickly snap to the left and get tossed. Overall, a very good element to end this crazy Intamin. The best inversion on the list might be surprised, but it's the inline twist on Banshee. Banshee is a ride full of intense inversions, and the small, not really intense version is the best out of all of them. The change from super intense speed to this hang time filled roll is super cool and unique. At 8 is Steel Vengeance's Outer Bank. I think this element is overrated since the hill right before is better, but this is still really good and one of the best airtime points on the ride. Since it is outer banked, you go up and turn to the left and start levitating out of your seat what feels like a good 5 seconds. And the airtime is super strong, just like the rest of Steve. Diamondback's first drop is one of the best in Ohio. It is exactly like Orion's, just slightly shorter, which is why Orion's is slightly higher, but it's still one of the best. In the back seat, you get loads of floater airtime on your way down. People say that the seatbelts restrict them, but it doesn't, so it doesn't really bother me, and the amazing B&M clamshells allowed for all that great airtime. One of the best airtime moments on the whole list is Maverick's first hill. This is one of the most intense airtime moments in the world. You take this hill with so much speed that you fly right over it. But because you go over it so fast, it's not very sustained, but you get absolutely launched. And the restraints on Maverick do restrict the airtime a little bit because of the big bar, but it's still really good and top tier. I got Millennium Force's first drop here. This is a very good first drop. Since it's 300 feet, it feels like it lasts forever, and the 80-degree drop sends you flying. And the Entenmann T-bar, being one of the best restraints ever created, allowed me to get a lot of room. Overall, one of the best first drops in Ohio, and the world. And fourth is Maverick's first drop. Even though it's only 105 feet tall, it's one of the best first drops in the world, just like Millennium Force. Since the drop is at a 95-degree angle, you almost have no time to get to that angle, which is why the airtime is so intense. But since it's only 105 feet tall, it doesn't last that long, which is the only drawback of the element, but it's still really good. I got Maverick's launch at third. Out of all the elements that Maverick has, this is the best. The launch goes from near 0 to 70 in 3 seconds, which is so good and intense that you're pressed against the seat every second, which basically sums up all of Maverick. Dark tunnel and being flashbanged by the light outside makes it 10 times better. Next up is Steel Vengeance's first hill. This might be some of the strongest airtime in the world. It's 5 seconds of extreme airtime that feels like your legs are being cut off while riding. And since there's no banking, it is slightly outer banked, but not as much as the actual outer bank, which makes it even better. Number 1 is Orion's first drop. First drop is the largest that I've been on other than Millennium Force, falling 300 feet at a near 90-degree angle, which is why I do think it's better than Millennium Force's, because it's almost 10 degrees steeper. And the B&M restraints allow you to get all that great airtime compared to many restraints that limit airtime, like Valraven's vest restraints or Maverick's big bar that it has. But the mix of airtime and insane length give it the number 1 spot. Thanks for watching. Tell me your favorite element, and also comment what I missed, because I probably missed a couple elements on here. But other than that, have a good day.